Good evening, everyone. How are you tonight on this Monday? We are having a very windy day here in the Madison area. I haven't had any reason to go out, so I'm not sure how cold it is, but I believe it is starting to warm up out of the frigidness that we have seen of late. So that'll be nice to get a little bit of warmth going back here again. Although it is January, I probably shouldn't complain that it gets cold, right? Just finishing setting up for my phrase that I'm going to be using later. All right, so tonight we have a pretty basic layout, something that you can use to play with different cardstocks and DSPs in combination if you'd like. The DSP on this one is kind of the focal point. So we'll be looking at a variety of those. Just a reminder that there's celebration going on and the new spring mini catalog is here. If either you don't have either one of those and you need a copy, give me a shout out so that I can get one into your mailbox as soon as possible. All right, so tonight I am going to focus on a couple things actually that are in the online store, and we have a visitor. This is Autumn. She's decided that she wants to cuddle at the moment. She has very poor timing, in case you've ever wondered about that. I'll take her out in just a second. In the meantime, I guess she's going to wag her tail for you or something. All right, there you go. Okay, so we're going to focus a little bit on the online store. It might not be something that a lot of you are familiar with or have gone to visit quite often or anything like that. All right, she is leaving, so I'm going to close my door. There we go. Then we don't get any more other furry visitors in the studio tonight. Okay, so back to the online store. So basically, my thoughts are that Stampin' Up's kind of going to more of a hybrid catalog situation. So there will always be printed catalog material. We'll have an annual catalog. We'll have these two mini catalogs that cover, the one half and the second half of the calendar year. But then they want to be able to offer products more often to you guys so that there's always something fresh and fun and new, and that's their thing. So that's why there's the online store. So they put items in there on occasion, new releases, and then also too, some things that carried over from some of the old catalogs that aren't sold out yet, they've put into there. Some of them are on a last chance list, meaning the supplies are limited. Others are not, and in which case you can just keep purchasing them. They've left an actual paper catalog, but they're still out there and available for purchase. So I'm going to focus on a couple of those tonight. So first, still in the online store, is this, it's actually a whole suite collection. I only have the DSP because I already have a coffee themed stamp set. So this is a little latte DSP. So like I said, it does come with a stamp set and other things, but I only purchased the DSP. So I had some coffee related items like this to go with my stamp set. So I'm just going to I don't even have full sheets of some of them left anymore. So I'm just going to flip through this real quick. So this is again called a little latte, and it's in the online store. So you see some, this is little coffee beans, but on a coral background, little swirls like you would find at the top of your fancy coffees. So there was the coffee cup version. There's also, like you saw at the beginning, kind of like a teacup situation. And then other side of this one is like little coffee rings. And you've got, hey Carla, hi, good to see you tonight. Espresso beans, and then this funky plaid that's in there. And I've used this on a couple projects tonight. Just to show you what you can do with it. So I'm pairing that with a stamp set from the annual catalog, and I'll get to that in a second. I'm going to show you a couple other papers that we're using here tonight. One is called Regal Winter. Now this was in the last mini catalog. It is still available. Right, Carol? I mean, the DSP is awesome all by itself because there's a lot of really good fussy cuttable images. That's a thing. That's a word, right? Fussy cuttable images in there. So even if you don't have a stamp set, you can totally use images that are in the paper. So Regal Winter was in the last mini catalog that ran till the end of December last year. And it's still available. It is still in the online store, but it is on the last chance list, which means that once it's gone, it's gone. But there are some beautiful florals in here. And again, I don't even have full sheets of some of this left, but I just wanted to give you guys a quick overview of some of the florals that are in here. It's kind of, there's blackberry, there's wild wheat, peacock, and misty moonlight. That's lots of really cool. Let's see, warmer, 74 and sunny in Florida. Yay, Karen, send some of that our way. So this is Regal Winter. Like I said, it was in the last mini catalog. It is still on the last chance list. So you are able to go in there and get that while supplies last. Then there are some new releases of DSP. Now, if you might have been familiar with I think it might have been called Color Theory the first time it was issued, sorry. And it came with 3 different patterns. So you have these different ombre looks, and then the other side had kind of crackle designs on the back of them. And it was old olive, and I believe a yellow color and maybe a bluish color. I can't remember what colors were in them at the first release, but this one is Fresh Freesia, Pool Party, Petal Pink, and Misty Moonlight. So you get each of those, you get 4 of each of those times 4 colors. So there's 48 6x6 sheets. And I'm using that on one of those as well. So that is, again, items you can find in the online store that you might be not familiar with, but they're there for you to peruse. You just have to go to the online store. You can do that via my my website, and then just search for, there's when you drop down the products, there's online exclusives listed there. You can also just search for stamps and papers and whatever it is that you're looking for. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with what we need tonight. We need a card base that is 4 1/4 by 11, and you're going to score that at 5 1/2. Then you need another color of cardstock that's 3 by 4. I'm going to be using Pecan Pie along with my early espresso. Then a piece of DSP that's 3 by 4. Again, I'm using those little coffee cups from that a Little Latte DSP. Then a neutral piece that's 1 by 3, and we're going to put a phrase on this one. And then you can have a focal point if you want to. That's totally up to you. For this one here, my phrase is a little small. So to anchor that, I cut out a few of the little espresso beans to be able to put onto my phrase piece as well. All right, so I'm going to be using that phrase from this set here called Coffee with Friends. So like I said, this is the stamp set that I had. It's coffee related. So there's like coffee with a friend is like happiness in a cup. Sometimes you just need to reheat your coffee one more time and try again. Thinking of you and coffee too. Let's get together soon. You've got these cute images to line art color, and then a couple cups of coffee with some croissants. So this one's really fun. I do every once in a while, I do like to color. So I do grab this line art one because I thought this was a really nice one to be making cards with. All right, so let's hit it. You are going to grab your 2 pieces that are 3 by 4. And again, I had said to grab a piece of DSP and a piece of cardstock for future reference. If you wanted to make those 2 pieces of cardstock, 2 pieces of DSP, that's your call. You know, these are yours to do with as you please. I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive on the back of my DSP, okay, but not all the way to the edges. And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of offset these just a little bit like that. So you have just a little bit of that cardstock peeking out from behind. And I just realized I ran out of adhesive, so we're gonna have to replace that. So hold on one second. Grab my replacement here. I always have one next to me just in case. All right, plop another one of those guys in there. And that's easy as pie. That's how you switch out your stamp and seal. All right, so that is, like I said, that's the main portion there. If you have a focal point already, make sure that's handy. If not, you can always add one later if that's what you decide to do based on what you've seen from my samples. All right, so in my early espresso ink, I'm going to go ahead and make my phrase. So I do have the thinking of you, and I mounted them on the same block but on opposite sides so that I don't get ink in different places. So thinking of you and coffee too. So that is, I put them on both on the same piece. They would make good really inside and outside phrases as well. But for this piece, I had a larger phrase, so I wanted to make sure I filled that up. And then, as I said, I have these 2 images that I cut out from the DSP just to have something anchoring on my my panel with my phrase. So I'm going to add a glue dot to the back of each of those. I'm going to let those hang over the edges a little bit. So 1 set of little espresso beans and another set of little espresso beans. So there we go. That is my phrase all ready and done. You can also alter your phrase if you want a little bit. You could do the flag the ends, cut the ends on an angle, you know, make those up however you like. If you want them to be a little bit fancier cut, you go for it. All right, then you're going to take your card base and we are going to give that a good crease. Now this piece here is going to go kind of near the top, and you can decide, you know, do you want this piece to be flush or do you want it all to be kind of cattywampus? So that's kind of your call, okay? If you are more of a straight line kind of person, use one of those to line it up at the top. And if you're like a willy-nilly-ish, I'm a little bit willy-nilly-ish, I'm going to kind of do a cockeyed situation like that. Now you can decide at this point if you want this popped up, go ahead and grab those dimensionals. Otherwise, we're going to put some adhesive on the back of that. And this is going to be mostly the focal point in itself of our card. And you can have that be laying wherever you like amongst your DSP and your other things. So that's where you can have that be a little higher, a little lower. If you want to make this more centered, drop the whole thing into the middle. So you got options with what you might like to use. All right, so let me show you a couple other samples. So that again was the Coffee with Friends along with a Little Latte DSP. Now this one is also a Little Latte DSP, but I used the fun plaid pattern. So you really wouldn't necessarily know that this had anything to do with coffee. And I grabbed another stamp set that's in the online store called Everyday Greetings. This one's a really nice one that for building phrases. You've got some in a really nice font, and you've got some in a scripty font that you can put together and phrase build to your heart's content there. So I have On Your Birthday, and I used Coral and Lost Lagoon, which are in the plaid. And then I also took my coral marker, and I'm not sure if you can quite see. Oh, there we go. I think you can see it. I traced around the outside edges of all of it just to give it a little shadow and distinction from the background. So hopefully that makes that pop out a little bit. And then we have some Baker's Twine that comes in a 3-pack. And this is actually Flirty Flamingo technically, but it blends really nicely in with the corals and the pinks. So I use a Flirty Flamingo, just a little bit of DSP to tie a bow to go onto my phrase. All right, then we're going to switch over to that Regal Winter DSP I was telling you about. Now on this one, I added layers to the back of each of these, and I used 2 different DSPs. So I have this one, and I have the plaid version of the Wild Wheat, and I backed it with espresso, and it really makes those layers pop. So let's see, I used exactly those colors. Oh, well, how awesome, coral and green. There we go. It's really cool how those go together. I don't know if I would have placed them that way if I hadn't seen the plaid, but I like the way that the coral and the lagoon went together. So again, I phrase built from Everyday Greetings, and I used my bow punch to cut out some pieces out of early espresso to anchor my phrase. Okay, so you can see again, extra layers around everything just makes it all stand out a little bit more. And I've raised up the phrase on dimensionals too. All right, for this one, I flipped the direction horizontally, and I didn't cattywampus these guys, otherwise they would go off the edge of the card. So I just kind of made it a shadow against that. So this is Bevel Bath, and this one, and Blackberry Bliss. And then I grabbed my Petal Park Builder Punch, and I punched out 3 flowers in Blackberry, and I added some purple shimmer gems to the inside. So that's my focal point there. And then on a piece of Very Vanilla, I did Best Wishes, again, phrase building from that Everyday Greetings set. Right? I thought that was really good for that, the anniversary cards. This one would be good, again, wedding, anything congratulatory, that kind of thing. And then same thing here. I grabbed a different color palette here. This one's using that, it's called Hues. I always say it wrong. Shades and Hues DSP that I was just showing you. So that's one of those crackly looking pieces in the petal pink color. And I backed it with Smoky Slate. And then I added an extra layer that I embossed with the exposed brick embossing folder. So a little bit of texture, a little bit of dimension because that's raised up. And then there's this really pretty petal pink ribbon in the mini catalog that's got these scalloped edges. If you can see how cute that is with those little scallopy edges. And I wrapped it all the way around and kind of used it to anchor my phrase, and then added a bow at the corner. And again, the congratulations is coming from Everyday Greetings. All right, and then for this one, for the stepped up version, I added a layer, again, embossed. This one is embossed with the plaster painting embossing folder. That's an online exclusive as well. So it's what I think is kind of interesting. It doesn't go all the way, like the pattern of the plaster doesn't go all the way to the end of the embossing folder. They added just one in here that's kind of got almost like a burlap look to it. It's probably the canvas that's the plaster, if you're thinking plaster painting, and that looks like more of like a canvas look. So you've got a little bit of differentiation going on in the embossing folder part itself, which is kind of cool. Let's see, you got that ribbon, right, Carl? It's so pretty, isn't it? I love that scallopy edge. That's so pretty. So very soft, very springy. Love it. All right, let me go back to this guy here. I took my blending brush with some pecan pie, and I added some color to my layer of DSP. And then instead of doing some fussy cutting, I decided to stamp and then fussy cut my coffee and croissants. And I pulled out my, what did I use? I think it was peach pie for the cups and saucers to go along in there. And then I changed up my phrase to the one that says coffee with a friend is like happiness in a cup. So that's a really fun one as well. So like I said, your ways to step this up are really just going to be in your layering and then adding in accessories like bling or ribbon or something like that. So like I said, you've got your twines and your ribbons and then punched out pieces along with layering, and same thing here, just changing a direction sometimes is enough to do it. So that is everything I have to show you tonight. Hope you guys have had a great Monday. Hi, Amanda. I haven't seen you in forever. Thanks for popping in here. Hopefully you can watch the replay to see how we made these cards tonight, but I'll flip through one more time since you just popped in. So I was pulling out DSP that's in the online store. So we've got Regal Winter, which was still old there, a new one called Shades and Hues, and then a little latte from that coffee set that's in the online store. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your Monday. I will see you again next week live on a Monday. I hope you have a good one. And everybody stay warm if it applies. Karen, you sound like you're doing well at your 74 degrees, so I won't tell you to stay warm. Yeah, see, that's what I like about the embossing folders. Can you add a lot of texture to things without adding too much bulk? But I do love myself a good embossing folder for sure. Okay, have a great rest of your Monday, everybody, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.